West Coast Main Line on Locomotive Services Limited's Electric Scot charter, which will be hauled by 8700 Royal Sovereign, and we are very much looking forward to our
essential engineering works are taken. Next arrival at platform 2, the Electric Scot.
Available, located in Coach E, where Mark and John will be dining today. There'll be an untrained raffle with some fantastic prizes.
What are you doing, Steve?
Right, I've had a brilliant idea. Right.
Don't do it again.
When we've been videoing in previous things, obviously we do it at an angle, and so you get a horrible reflection. For
Yes.
example, when
Of
I'm
me.
I'm looking at videos of the scenery, I can see you reflected in it.
Yeah, which
It
nobody wants to
spoils
see.
the whole thing. So I've had a brilliant idea. I'm going to use this GoPro with a sucker thing, right, and see if I can get this to go straight onto the windscreen, and see whether we can get some pictures of the
scenery
without a reflection, and particularly without a reflection of you.
Exactly. Yes, very, very good, you sucker. Here's Haverston. Because it might be two side on, of course. It may be two side on. Trespass there. God, he got some equipment.
What's happening there, Joe?
We are coming into Tamworth for our last pickup on the Trent Valley. Now, the last time I was here, I was getting on vintage trains with our friends to go to York. Next stop, Crewe. Not sure if we are. This is the slow line, so possibly we won't get as fast as we could do.
Well, that's just not acceptable. It's
Not good enough, is it?
Trip you brought me on today.
I'm sorry, Steve. It's just I know.
Again, haven't you?
I have got it wrong again. I'm sorry. I thought that when we had that food failure on the Scarborough trip, I thought that was.
That wasn't a failure. The only failures I've been involved with you is trying to get elected.
Yeah.
That's the definition of failure.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
And yourself.
Yes.
Actually, yes. And you do that often. So Steve has asked me this morning to sign up for rail miles, because I track all my mileage on rail miles.
Yes.
Obviously, great, you would say. Brilliant thing to do. Great, isn't it, Steve?
Marvellous.
But
Yes.
Steve has just actually failed the capture, so you are in fact a robot. Yeah, so there's a lot of photographers out today, isn't there?
Well, that's understandable, because every journey we've been on,
There's been loads of
people
people
have come and taken
photographing us.
loads of
Yeah.
photographs of us.
I couldn't understand. It was when we were on the Scarborough Spar Express with Galatea on the front, just all photographing us, weren't
At
they?
one point, there was a whole crowd of people on York Station taking photos of us, and I thought they were going to knock each other onto the line.
I know. Excellent. You've managed to get.
I've got 2 teas, a bacon roll and a sausage roll.
Excellent.
You didn't tell me what you wanted, so you've got nothing.
Excellent, even better. This is one of the new Merseyrail units here.
And this bit of the journey, Joe, is particularly helped by the fact that I now have a bacon bunch.
And is it any good? Excellent. Any idea where we are, Steve?
No,
I think we might be at Crewe.
not a clue.
Crewe holding sidings.
Didn't we come back on the The last time we came past here, wasn't there a particular train in here that
Interested me.
interested you?
Yeah, this one.
Oh, there was this
Yeah.
one, right.
Yes. There you go. There's the Midland Pullman. Look.
Right. And that's a bit. Oh, great. Yeah. Well, we've been on that.
We have been,
We're on this.
and I've been on, and I've been on that one. That's the staycation set. There's a
Train is for special ticket holders only, and will next be calling at Preston. In the interest of safety, I'd like to remind all passengers not to lean out of the windows or allow phones or cameras to protrude outside the vehicle. Do not be stand at the platform, and our guard has released the secondary door locks. Should you have any questions or require any assistance, then please don't hesitate to speak to your on-train steward. Hope you have a pleasant journey with us today, and thank you for travelling with Intercity.
Oh yes.
the advanced passenger train. I didn't tell you about my raffle escapade, did I?
No.
So we are currently sitting on the down main at Acton Bridge. A 37 has just gone past.
Very nice day.
It's a very nice day. We're doing very well. Only problem is we have been sitting here for a quarter of an hour. So they've announced there's some sort of problem with 87002. So hopefully it isn't something too serious, and we're on our way shortly. But Steve, despite the fact we're sitting here, are you enjoying yourself?
Well, I'm certainly enjoying it, and I'm particularly interested in that old barn over there, which is full of rubbish, which I've been looking at for the past 15 minutes. Marvellous. And it's good because somebody's just walked down saying we're going to be on the move soon, but forgot to mention that meant you're all getting off and walking.
Yeah, with the walking Scot.
Yeah.
The bolts on the Glasgow 87, which has now been rectified, just waiting for the road to move forward. Next time you hear the announcement, I'll be doing an impression of Kev Adlam. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So the train that replaced this,
Yes, it's that. Yeah.
and what a downgrade that is.
So where are we now? Acton?
Acton Bridge that was, so we're shortly going to cross over the River Weaver at the Dutton Viaduct.
And hopefully get some nice.
And looking, and we've once again hit on the weather, haven't we? Well, touch wood at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the River Weaver. There's the canal coming into it.
Oh, that's right, yes. Lovely.
So we are just coming into Preston. We are unfortunately running 51 minutes late because of that stop, which was due to a faulty relay on the loco, but has now been fixed.
Are you sure it wasn't me changing the battery in my...
Well, it is coincidental that you change your battery just as the loco encountered problems. Now, I'm not saying anything, but sounds possible. No, so we're just pulling into Preston. We're 51 minutes late. Hopefully we'll make some of that up on the way to Glasgow. But beyond that, everything's fine. The food was very nice, wasn't it, Steve?
It was indeed, yes.
It's very comfortable on here. It really is like it's not like walking back in time because this isn't an original interior. But from the outside, you'd think you were stepping back into the late 80s. And we've got an 87 on the front.
And stepping back in the late 80s, which I remember well.
Which Steve remembers well. Because he's 105 years old. But no, we're now at Preston. And of course, Steve, the last time we were here was we were just about to drive home after the Scarborough trip.
Was it?
Yeah.
Very good. And some hedges just as I
And a few fences and hedges now. Great stuff.
The service station, yes.
Yeah.
The Pennine Tower. I'd love to see that opened up, wouldn't you? It'd be fantastic, you know, motorway dining.
So we're coming up to Carnforth now.
We've just passed Morecambe Bay. We've just passed Carnforth, as I always point out, scene of the 1948 film Brief Encounter.
But not filmed there.
But not filmed there. No, it was filmed there. It wasn't filmed at Milford Junction, which is where they said which was the station it was filling in for. Very confusing.
Oh, so it was filmed there.
It was filmed there.
But it wasn't there.
Yes, exactly. It was standing in for Milford Junction.
Yeah.
Very confusing. We've now passed Carnforth, but also obviously we've picked up at Preston, the last pickup for this the Electric Scot charter, and we've also we've passed the bay, Morecambe Bay.
Yeah. Tide was out.
And the tide was out, but it was lovely to see, and of course the only place where the West Coast Main Line runs by the coast.
Indeed. And of course we're now coming into the southern part of the Lake District.
We are.
We're going to Shapfell at some point.
I was going to say, we're about to tackle the first of the two big hills at Shap, which should be no problem for an electric locomotive such as the one that's on the front of this train.
And how fast are we going? Are we making up time, Joe? Because
Well, that is a good question. No, we've actually lost more time. We're now 52 down.
Dear.
We've got a pathing stop at Carnforth. We've got a pathing stop at Carlisle to drop off the driver and swap drivers. So we hopefully should make up a little bit of time. And let's see how fast we're going. So
Are we going to get to Glasgow in daylight is the next question.
pass is the answer, because you never know.
Because they're all over there.
Yes, yeah.
But,
Because you can, of course, get a train out to like Windermere, can't you, from Oxenholme?
yeah.
I love this stretch of the West Coast Main Line.
When you're coming in on the motorway, though, you really know that you're arriving in the Lake District. Because we come off at Windermere, you can get to T-Bay Services, which is the subject of a documentary series recently on telly.
Yeah.
Which was a farm, and they built the motorway through the farm. He said, well, no, it's a service station. Yes, it's the best service station on the motorway. It's not like all the others, which are a bit sort of corporate, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as we've discussed before, many years ago, service stations were envisaged as destinations in themselves, weren't they?
Well, Leicester Forest East certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Forton, as we've just been past with its 1960s Pennine Tower, fascinating. A more optimistic view of the future.
Absolutely.
How about living there then?
I think that might be the motorway down there.
Now, Steve, you've just told me to look at this as you pointed it at a cutting. Could you explain yourself?
I can explain myself. One of the things that I'm particularly good at is, for instance, switching the camera on at a beautiful view just as we go into the deep cutting.
Yes, and you've done a lot of that.
My timing is peerless.
It's brilliant. So, shall we rebrand Steve's headshots to Steve's cutting pics?
But that's a bit too close to Steve's cutting remarks, isn't it?
Doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
That's Oxenholme, Steve. Oxenholme for the Lake District.
Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely.
Hey, look at that.
Again, not something you see around our neck of the woods, is it? Transport there, you've got water down there, the premier mode of transport here, the railway, and of course the M6 running there parallel. We're in the Loon Gorge, so we've just we've crested Shap, still bowling along, didn't lose very much speed. We're now on our way down to Penrith and towards Carlisle, the border city.
The old castle.
I have to say, I've got some fond memories of last time we were here because the sun was shining. There was a food festival on it, wasn't there?
There was. Yes.
Nice fish and chips, found the castle.
Yeah.
Generally, I had quite a jolly time.
Yeah, doesn't look like that today, does it? It looks quite grim here today, actually. But
There won't be a food festival on.
there won't be a food
And the chip
festival
shop
on.
will probably be shut.
Yeah, it was, in fact, when I came back to Carlisle on some of the trips, the chip shop was, in fact, closed. I've always said Locomotive Services Limited are brilliant, but I think this is brilliant. We've been very kindly provided with a map of Glasgow and a subway map. We've also bought some raffle tickets, but I think you'll agree, Steve, that the stewards, who are mostly from the Branch Line Society, but everyone on here, very friendly, very helpful, and it's, I think, a very nice experience so far.
And it's lovely, it's comfortable, and wake me up when we get to Glasgow.
Yeah, which is hopefully in about an hour and 10 minutes time. So,
Just leaving Carlisle now, on our way up north and across the border.
this is new track for you.
It is new track for me, yes.
It isn't new track. We're north of Carlisle now. So we're just counting down to cross the Scottish border at Gretna. So new track for Steve, track that I've done only once before in the daylight, done it before in the dark. But so just watching now to cross the border into Scotland.
So once we've crossed this,
There you go, past Gretna Junction.
that's it.
Wife.
Yes.
Now, would you like to say anything on the record about what today is?
Not particularly what day is it?
It's the 26th of January.
26th of January. It's Ticky's birthday.
It is.
Oh, God.
No. Now, what did Tiki say when she found out you were going out on this trip today?
Well, I did, to be fair, I did clear it first. But she said that it was the best birthday present I could possibly give her. I said, what do you mean? She said, leave me alone for the day. So
Well,
it's a win-win.
Yeah, exactly. A win-win. You get to come out on this, go to Scotland for the second time in your life,
Yes.
and Tiki gets a nice day without you.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, splendid. That's Locomotive Station.
Yeah.
You'd need semi-pro equipment.
I got my first video wife present. For some reason, my wife and son and daughter-in-law were talking about things that could be done, and they somehow got onto bungee jumping and said how they'd like to do it, but it's crazy and they wouldn't do it any more than you and I would. But rather cruelly, I thought, my wife's written it could become Steve's new hobby, and would make an interesting Facebook video, which is true.
Yes.
And my daughter-in-law has said they could call it Joe Throws Steve Off Bridges.
We've just passed Beatock Summit. We're now descending towards Glasgow. In the words of the poem by W.H. Auden, down towards Glasgow she descends. So we're on our way down, so we're going to pass through Carstairs now. And there's some absolutely stunning scenery, isn't there, Steve? It's absolutely fantastic. I think, despite the fact we're running a bit late, Steve, this is a really, really comfortable environment, very relaxed, just lovely, isn't it? It's a way to travel.
And I'm looking out on my left of the motorway, thinking, I'm glad I'm not on the motorway because this is much nicer.
Exactly, the way to travel.
Sound off these, but I've talked on it. Give a reference point.
Look at that,
Yeah. But not today.
Yeah.
That's the line to Edinburgh there.
Right.
A reasonably,
Like it's been raining,
I was
yeah.
going to say, Steve's just taking a photo of a cutting.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you so interested, we have taken the unusual routing from Law Junction round towards Wishaw Central Junction and then into Holytown. I know that was of interest to a number of you.
We're not far from Glasgow now. Steve's very excited. As he's got his camera out, he's not excited. But as you heard there from Kev Adlam, we are on some reasonably unusual route. Certainly some unusual route in recent times for a Class 87. Not a nice little added bonus. But not new track for me this way as well. So very much looking forward to getting to Glasgow.
When I drive anywhere, my family always complain because I like to drive a different route back and what have you. And so I'm famous for not ever driving the same way and going on circuitous routes. I can genuinely say that doing this, we have sort of gone to Glasgow via Edinburgh. Sort of.
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
Right, yeah.
We probably could have in the time as well.
Regulations in Scotland.
See you back here in a bit. Glasgow.
What a lovely station, look.
Fantastic, isn't it, Steve? So, Steve, we've made it to Glasgow behind the 87. Was getting a bit worried at one point, but we have made it. So we're heading down to the Clyde now.
We are by turning right here. Right. There's a little over. Well, we're getting down to the real Glasgow. This, of course, is where the railway lines come in, and this over here is the River Clyde.
Yes.
As we walk down to this, as you say, horrible graffiti alleyway, it'll be quite good because you'll be able to walk further over to the right than I can.
Right. So we're now going onto the Glasgow subway, which neither of us obviously have ever done.
No, and of course it's called the Clockwork Orange.
It is. Yeah, so we're going
Yes, we don't want to go back to the
to Kelvin Bridge. Let's go. So we're down at Buchanan Street on
Yes.
the Clockwork Orange, aren't
Yes.
we? We're heading round to, where are we heading to? Kelvin
Bridge
Bridge.
on the inner.
On the inner
circle,
line,
yes.
on the inner circle.
Yeah.
Because we are in the inner circle. And it's very nice down here, actually, isn't
I
it?
know, really nice.
Very nice.
Quite a small, short platform. Look.
Yes, nothing like we're used to on the London Underground.
No, quite. And you can't possibly go wrong on this because it's just a circle.
Exactly. Yes, the Clockwork Orange.
Yes. When you say I can't possibly go wrong,
We probably will.
We could go
yes,
wrong.
we'll give it a go.
Decided.
About halfway around the Glasgow subway, these old Metro Camel units, which are being replaced soon, are pretty good nick on the surface of it. Very nice, very comfortable. And what are we? We're now at Cessnock. So we're heading back to Buchanan Street, going to get some chips and then head back to Glasgow Central. But yeah, suitably impressed with the Glasgow subway. Steve,
And it's raining.
Steve, something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Because we're back at Buchanan Street. How has this happened?
Well, actually, what we did is we just went down and came back up again.
That's exactly it. No.
Yeah.
So, in all seriousness, something I've always wanted to do, Glasgow subway. I've now done it.
Yes.
And the chip shop's there.
Okay.
Came round saying they washed and waxed it yesterday.
Oh, you can tell.
I reckon they must have done the stock and all.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
Unbelievable stock is. That noise.
We're back at Glasgow Central, about to head back to Nuneaton on the return of the Electric Scot. Behind me is 87002, looking absolutely immaculate. Obviously going to be in push mode on the rear with the DVT at the other end, leading the train back down to London. And what a great day it's been. So we're well underway now on the way back. We're already sat at the car stairs on the way towards B-Top. We've got another pathing stop at Carlisle, probably to drop off a member of staff and pick somebody up.
What, somebody who doesn't actually want to get off, they're going to be just thrown off.
That's it, exactly. You probably.
I think these are nice. They're nice design, but clearly aren't properly functional, are they?
And that sums me and you up, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, apart from the design of this trip, although we've gone all the way up to Glasgow and didn't have quite as much time in Glasgow as we hoped, but we made the most of it, didn't we?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Is that we're not too late back.
No, not really.
When we got back from the Scarborough run, it was nearly midnight, I think, by the time
and
we
we
got
did.
back.
And by the way, we did half the mileage.
I know. It's only because we had to get up to Preston and back in the car. But
You think about that, it was a real amble coming back. We could have been back faster, because we weren't back to Preston until 10 o'clock.
No. So...
No. So this is your first trip on the intercity set.
Yes.
What do you think of the intercity set?
Nice and comfortable. Good service.
Yeah.
Good buffet bar.
Yep.
Well, what not to like? Nice and fast. You know, great stuff. You don't even know you're doing 90 and 100 mile an hour, do you?
No.
That's really good. And then, you know, and I didn't know what to expect in Glasgow, but I was pleasantly surprised.
After you, Mr. Hay. To the left, Steve. Thanks very much. Have a safe journey home and everything. You alright, mate? How are you? Good, good. Well, we're back at Nuneaton. It has been a wonderful day. 87002 performed fantastically, despite the minor mishap this morning. Yeah, I knew you'd mention that.
Until it didn't.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we've had a very... Oh, it's face tracked on you, Steve. But we've had a very enjoyable day. And I always ask this question because I'm the railway enthusiast, not you. And I like to ensure you've enjoyed yourself. So I ask you as normal, Steve, have you enjoyed yourself?
I have indeed. I was very pleasantly surprised by Glasgow. I like the architecture there. It was a fairly vibrant place. I wasn't really expecting that. And of course, we planned this trip around the underground, the Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
And that, although we were a bit lacking in time, that worked out really well. So all in all, tremendous. And the train was so smooth and comfortable, and it was just great.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Steve. So we'll be back soon, won't we?
Yeah.
I suspect we're going to do something in February.
Yes.
You're not fed up with me yet? Any more than usual?
No.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But no, obviously, please give us a subscribe, follow us on Twitter, etc. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye.